for me, whatever I decide to do, and as long as I touch it, it works out. You know, so I discovered that that's a gift that God has given me. So the name Zanja comes from, I'm Nsenga by tribe. So in Nsenga, Zanja means hand.
Wow.
So I've seen how God has given, how He's blessed my hands. So I consider my hands to be a gift. Whatever I touch prospers.
They say that for every business to survive, you need to have secrets. I've been told that others have a spiritual backing, they have secrets that they have instituted in their business for it to stand firm.
So I remember there was this time I was praying, like I prayed and prayed and prayed. And you know how praying, I don't know, God just showed me a vision. I saw a car and it had a number plate. And that number plate I saw, at the time I had not seen it anywhere, you know. So God showed me that. Then I was like, okay, what's this, you know? When He showed me that, I think after a month, I was walking on campus. Then I found a car, but it had the same number plate I saw. I was like, wow, okay, so God can show you something in the future, huh? I was like, so God, you mean me I can buy a car and the one broke like this, I don't even have money to...
Right, Unfiltered Faith Podcast, Conversations We're Hearing. I'm your host Elijah and my co-host
Abraham.
And today we're joined by a very special guest. I'm telling you, this is gonna be a special episode. Since day one, like the time we're planning for this podcast, he was on the list of the top people I wanted to have, and today it's happening. So excited about it.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, so if you're ready to learn, to be unfiltered, to get to be inspired as you listen to our guest today, put your digital hands together. Drum rolls for none other than Sir Charles. Sir Charles, welcome to Unfiltered Faith.
Thank you very much for having me.
We are so humbled to have you on the podcast. As stated earlier, since the day we're planning on this podcast, we're like, Sir Charles should be there.
Oh, okay.
He was actually one of the first people that we had on our list.
Because we have a list of people I want to have.
I really appreciate and I'm humbled.
So excited. So today we're having a very interesting conversation. But before we get into our conversation, we have icebreakers. So we have 4 cards. You get to pick 3. You read out the question and answer it. Yes, sir.
Interesting. So I can pick 3 at once?
You start with the first one, you read it out.
Let me get this. Okay. What is this?
A switch.
Switch. Okay. Which Bible character would you switch lives with and why?
This
is an interesting question. Think King Solomon. King Solomon. Yeah.
Why King Solomon, sir?
Wisdom. And let's just talk about wisdom.
Here, Abraham's reason.
For me, it's plain. Like he had the chance to experience life. He's one of my best characters as well.
Wow. This is Abraham's episode.
This is
All right, I think we're moving on to the second card.
Okay. This one. Oh, okay. The question reads Zanja Media or Zanja Motors.
So you're being told the one that you're keeping.
Okay. Okay, so keeping as in...
You have to choose between running Zanja Media or Zanja Motors. Just one.
Okay. Wow. Oh, this is a tough question. Because, both Zanja Media and Zanja Motors, it's, to me, it's more than just a business, it's passion. So I love cars, I love media. I think I can go with Zanja Motors. Wow. Though, if I'm to be honest, I think Zanja Media makes more money than Zanja Motors. But I would go with Zanja Motors.
But why is Zanja Motors?
It's a passion. Like, I love cars. We can talk about cars every day. So, yeah, that's why I can go for Zanja Motors.
So, your media makes more money than...
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It makes more money than Zanja Motors. But I feel like just the title, when someone thinks of motors, they can assume it makes more money. But in reality, realistically speaking, the media makes more money. Yeah.
Wow.
So you'd go for passion?
Yes. Yeah.
So rare in today's world. I think everyone is just
not the bag.
Yeah, no, I can go for passion.
Wow.
Yeah, because one thing I've discovered is most of the time when you go for passion, I think money just follows you. That has been my experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Already learning. The big cut.
Okay. Getting between the two. Okay, let me go for this one. This is simple. The question reads, would you rather have the Psalms of David or the Proverbs of Solomon? Solomon, of course.
Yeah! Today is my day. Wow. Yeah, finally. Wow. Finally. This is... Yeah.
There's this card, out of curiosity.
Okay.
I really wanted you to answer this one.
Okay.
Which cars can you go for and why? So you have the BMW, the Benz, or a Lexus?
I can go for a Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, I think if you made me last year, I was going to go a Lexus. I was going to go for a Lexus, but I think at the moment I can go for a Mercedes-Benz. Yeah.
Mercedes.
Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
All right, so Abraham, with our scripture for today.
So our scripture for today is coming from the book of Proverbs 18 verses 16, which says, your gift will make room for you. Your gift will make room for you. So diving into that question, like, what's your viewpoint about, since you also talked about passion,
yes,
of which it's something that you really feel like you would go for your passion and like the bag. So is it, how true is that scripture for you, like personally, where the Bible says that your gift will always make room for you? So what's the reality of that scripture in your life?
Okay, so as the Bible says, each and every person, God has given them a gift.
Yes.
Because even the name, my company name is Zanja. Zanja comes from, I discovered, the gift that God has given me. That's where the name actually came from. I noticed that for me, whatever I decide to do, and as long as I touch it, it works out. So I discovered that that's a gift that God has given me. So the name Zanja comes from, I'm Nsenga by tribe. So in Nsenga, Zanja means hand.
Wow.
So I've seen how God has given how he's blessed my hands. So I consider my hands to be a gift. Whatever I touch prospers.
Wow.
So I feel like the gift, it's very true. It can make room for you, because when you're operating in what God created you for, the gift that God gave you, it's very easy for you to make it. Because what will happen is this: I've seen this before, whereby someone is doing something because it's a gift, it's a calling that God has given them. Then someone else is just doing it because they're interested in that thing. You'd find that the one who's doing it because it's a gift, they do it with ease. But the one who's doing it because they just want to do it, they struggle.
So true. So true.
Yeah. So that's how I can answer that question.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. And did you always know that you are going to become a businessman?
Not really. But I had, I think in 2015, that's like 9 years ago, the first passport I got, The occupation there, it was saying businessman, but at the time I had no intentions of becoming a businessman. I didn't even picture myself becoming a businessman. I think the business ideas just started coming when I was in university.
Wow.
But yeah, I didn't picture myself to become a businessman. Yeah, it just started coming along the way. But when I looked at my first passport, the 2015 passport, I was like, oh, okay. So I was meant to become a businessman because even in my passport, it says businessman. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but if I'm to say maybe in high school or when I completed school, I was imagining myself being a businessman. No, it just came later on when I was in university. Yeah.
You had a career back then, like what you wanted to become or something?
Yes, of course. I really wanted to become. Actually, there were two things I wanted to do. I wanted to become a medical doctor, but I hate medicine. I hate hospitals. So yeah. So then the other thing is, like I said, I love cars. So I was thinking of maybe becoming an engineer or something like that. But when UNZA accepted me, you know, the way UNZA will just pick you, put you where they say you are fit to be. So UNZA put me in psychology, and yet I really wanted to become an engineer. CB accepted me to do electrical engineering, but they didn't give me a scholarship. Then UNZA gave me a scholarship, so I went to UNZA. Yeah.
Wow.
That's also amazing.
Yeah.
You said you never saw yourself becoming a businessman.
Yes.
I would like to know what pushed you to venture into starting a business.
Okay, so I think it was in 2018. Back in university, I was at UNZA, and I belonged to a Christian fellowship called Chi Alpha. I don't know if you've heard of it. Chi Alpha Christian Fellowship. Yeah. So I belonged to that Christian fellowship. So you know, it was one of those things whereby I didn't know in which department to be. So I found myself, I was in the media department. We used to call it publicity. So in the media department, we're required to design posters, like to do photography and whatnot. So I just developed interest to take photos for the fellowship, then design posters here and there. Then as time went by, I developed a lot of interest in knowing more about photography. Then I started doing it for fun. Then you'd find that someone would call you, oh, I want to take some pictures, they give you 50 coach. I was like, wow, okay, so I can make money out of this. You know, so it went on for some time. Then I remember I went to the Copper Belt. Actually, I went for missions in Solwezi. Then on my way back, I decided to stay home in Kitwe. That's where our home was at the time. So I went back where I used to work. So I was just there like working. Then there's this girl I used to work with. Then she just comes to me. She was like, Charles, I've been praying, you know. God has just told me that I should buy a camera. I was like, what? I was like, do you know how expensive cameras are? She was like, yeah, it's fine. God has just told me to buy a camera. That's how I bought my first camera. And when I came back to school, I had the camera. And the name, I was debating which name should I go with. Then actually I was with a friend. We were somewhere at the kids. So I was like, but why are you struggling with the name? You know the gift that God has given you. Just use that. So I was like, oh yeah, interesting. That's how I came up with a Zanja name. Then the photography business started. Zanja Media, I remember that year, that was 2019 now. I think I covered graduation at UNZA. I made some monies. Then when people see my photos, they would be like, wow, these are good photos. They would book me for birthdays. They would book me for like weddings. They would book me for different events. That's how Zanja Media was born. Yeah.
So it started from a passion.
Yes.
So you're saving in church.
Yes.
You discovered you loved it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then it went out to become what
yes
known today as Zanja.
Yes. Wow. And you know, it's actually very interesting. In 2020, when COVID was so bad, like when everyone was affected by COVID. Yes. So you know, I was in Kitwe. I was from Kitwe, but I was forced to stay in Lusaka. So I had now, I'm not working, I'm a student. Then the media business, they said no weddings. There was nothing. So I was like, how am I going to survive? But you know, the way God works, because of the same, like I said, publicity were responsible for graphic designing, photography. So I learned the skill for graphic designing. I remember I actually started when I was learning the skill for graphic designing. I was just using the phone. Then there was a guy who was very good at it, so I just followed him. I was like, okay, you should teach me this skill. So I think we spent like a week. He taught me all the basics I needed to know in Photoshop, and I learned, I mastered the skill. So you know, I would receive phone calls like the people I was with from school, like in the same department, even just other people. They'll be like, wow, Charles is good at this. So they would call me, oh, my church needs a poster. I would design a poster for them. I send on WhatsApp, they pay me. So you know, I stayed, I think I was renting a house somewhere. I stayed there, I think, for almost 5 months, and I was getting my rentals from the same graphics I was designing for people. You know, and the skill I also learned in photography and videography. There were churches that would call me, would shoot a video, then when we shoot, then they would upload it, then on Sunday premieres. So you'd find that this church would call you, you record for them, this they call you, you record. So that's how I was making money during that period, until when everything was up, the COVID like reduced, I went back in school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah.
We live in a time where a lot of us as young people, we have this thing that we say, I want to start a business, I have ideas, but money.
Oh yeah.
That's a challenge.
So how practical, how did it work for you? Because actually, it's so funny that you hear a lot of motivational speakers. I started a restaurant with one rice.
Yes, with one rice.
Oh yeah.
This to be unfiltered,
Yes.
practical
Okay.
to a young person, maybe to us young people who say, no, me I want to start this business. I can start this business, but the issue is I don't have capital.
Okay.
How did that work?
Okay, that's a very good question. So to answer your question, I'll start by asking, how do you define faith? What's the definition of faith? Since this podcast is called Unfiltered Faith, huh?
Yes.
So what's the definition of faith?
The substance of things hoped for.
The evidence of things not seen.
Yes. So you know, you need to hope for something, even if you haven't seen it. I remember, you know, for me, I think my business, I can say everything was ordered by God. Because imagine, I have interest in this thing. Then someone just comes to you. I was praying and God has told me I should buy a camera. You know, so when it comes to capital, I think when you are starting, if you want to go into business, capital should not even be the biggest worry. You should not worry about that. The most important thing is you need to love what it is that you want to do. Because, you know, when you love something or when you are sure of what you want to do, I feel God always makes a way. Like you just open doors, you see like people become interested to help you, you know, like things will just start happening. You'll be amazed. Because I remember, you know, like when we were, actually I went for missions in Solwezi. We were in Solwezi. This guy comes to me. He's like, Charles, you know what? I was praying for you. I've seen how nice pictures are looking for the fellowship, how nice the graphic designing you're doing, how good they are. So he said, I know for sure God is going to bless you. In fact, he said God has already provided the solution, you know. Even as I was going back to Kitwe, for me, I was thinking, okay, I'll work during this period, raise some money. Then when I go back to school, I'll have my camera. And you know, everything just happened fast forward. Because the person, not only did that person buy me a camera, the person also bought me a speed light. The person also bought me a tripod stand. So I had everything, you know. When I was starting the business, everything was there. I think for me, I only spent, I think, 2,000. That's the only money I topped up to buy maybe one or two things. But almost all the things I needed for my business, God just convicted them to buy for me. Yeah.
It's really something that is very amazing. Indeed, faith is actually a key that we must uphold to. They say that a person who doesn't have someone that they follow, indeed they are following a destructive way.
Oh yeah.
Because you need to have someone that leads your way and everything. So like for you personally, how do you define mentorship and Has mentorship in any way affected your business, maybe positively or negatively?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. You know, mentorship. There was a point I used to think, no, you don't need mentors. You can do it by yourself. Uh, you really need mentors. Trust me, you can't do it without a mentor. For me, my mentor has been my pastor, Pastor Mwiranonde. He's really, really mentored me so well. I think I can say also my wife. There was a point when we are back in university. I think I can say she mentored me a bit up to a certain stage until Pastor Mola took it over, then helped me become who I am today. Because like even the desire for Zanja Motors, it was there. But I think the moment I met Pastor Mwira, he really, really helped me. He helped me bring that thing out, because I remember he would always call me. He would ask me, "What is it that you want to do with your life?" So I remember I told him I want to do ABCD. So him. The moment I told him what I wanted to do, he would always remind me, he would always ask me, how far have you gone with that issue? What are you doing about it? He would always ask me that, because I remember even the same Zanja media business, I went bankrupt a number of times. It's not that it just boomed, it just started happening, because the media business, it has seasons. There are seasons when things are happening, there are seasons when things are slow, So I would go bankrupt, I would have money just like that. But when the biggest weakness I had, I didn't know how to save. I remember when I met my wife back in university, like we discussed, I told her what I wanted. I mentioned Zanja Motors. I mentioned I have this media business. So she asked me, how much do you make in a month? I was like, I don't know. Then she said, you don't know, then how are you running that business? So I said, am I supposed to know? She said, yes, you're supposed to know. I said, how? Yeah, I was like, as long as money comes in. So she was like, oh, okay. She told me you need to come up with a financial database. I was like, how do I make that? I don't even know how to make it. So she made it for me, then she gave it to me. And on that financial database, it was showing like the expenses, the income, like the profits you're making. So it would show you all those things. So I remember, I think the first month I used that financial database. When I did the calculations, I discovered I made in that month. It was a slow month, but when I looked at the figures, I made an 11,000. I was like, what? I made this much. So I was like, oh, okay, so I really need this. So it started helping me. The moment I saw that I made 11,000, but I didn't know where that money was, because, of course, I would spend it here and there. So I was like, okay, so it's possible I can make this much. Then I talked to my mentor, Pastor Mwina. I told him, I was like, I have a desire. I think I want to buy a car. So he told me, you can start saving for it, So now, just the fact that I told him I want to buy a car, he would always remind me, how far have you gone? How much have you saved? So he kept on reminding me. So the moment I had the goal, and this is one thing I've learned, it's easier for you in life, even in business, for you to move forward if you have a goal, Most of the time, imagine you say, I'm saving. What are you saving for? You don't know. It's very hard for you to save. It's very hard. But the moment there's a goal, that, okay, I'm saving for this right now. It becomes very easy for you to be disciplined. You'll be saving. I remember there were a number of times whereby I would go somewhere, work. I would be working from Underhill. Maybe, let me say Sarova, like I was shooting a birthday. Then I sit down, I think, okay, I'm going back to Onza. Should I book a Yango or get on a bus? I was like, I'll just walk, I was walking with my equipment, and it was in the night. I would walk, I would save the money just like that. Because the goal was, I need to buy a car no matter what happens. So that goal taught me how to save. I started saving, and my mentor kept on reminding me, The moment I forget about that goal, my mentor will call me, will ask me, how far will that go? So I'll be reminded. So mentorship is very important, because I feel like if it wasn't for my mentor to keep on pressing on me, reminding me of what I'm supposed to do, I think the progress or what I've achieved so far, it would have taken longer. Yeah, and there's a possibility I might not even have achieved what I've achieved today, you know. So mentorship is very important, because a mentor is like a signpost, you know. They tell you from here that go to NRDC. If you've never been to NRDC, it's very hard for you to get there. But if they're signposts, they'll be mentoring you, they'll be guiding you. Here, no, don't go like this, go this way.
Wow.
No, there, don't go there, go like this. You'll find yourself at NRDC. Why? Because you have someone who's been there before, or the signposts, the people who put them up, they've been there before. They know exactly where they are.
Yeah.
So it's easy for them to direct you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we live in a time where everyone wants to do it in their own way. Especially us as young people, we don't want to learn from someone. How? I think again, you can have a mentor, but developing the discipline to listen to that person. So that person can tell you, no, let's say Elijah starts saying,
Yes.
he's told me,
Yes.
but may I have issues with myself. So how do I develop the discipline, or what systems can I put around my life to ensure that I learn and get the best out of my mentor? Because there are people who have mentors, you look at their lives.
Yes.
They're still stuck.
Oh yeah, that's very true. You know, it's like how can I put it? You know, it's like God has given each and every person free will. So you'd find that you can have a mentor, but you don't listen to what they're telling you. So there now, it's your will, it's you who's decided to do that. But you know, how can I put it? You know, mentors, what can help one to listen to a mentor is this. For example, you know, we read books. Like for me, I read a lot of books. I have a number of books. So why do we read books? Or why do we listen to motivation? We listen to motivation to be motivated by other people. We read books to learn from others. I remember it was Miles Monroe once said, you can learn something in 1 week. You can learn something that took a person maybe 50 years to learn. You can learn it in 1 week, just through a book. You know, it's like mentors. They've experienced life. They know 1 or 2 things that you don't know about. You know, so when they come to you, they tell you, you need to do this, you need to do that. Because I'll give an example. For example, if you came to me, you asked me some of the challenges. You know, most people, when they look at Zanja Media, the only thing they'll see is the success, the things I've done, but they will not see the down part, like the failures I've experienced in this business, you know. So the only way one will learn about those, for example, you come to me, you ask me, what are some of the mistakes you made in your media business? I'll tell you the mistakes. And when I tell you those mistakes, it means you'll be an advantage. You're not going to make the mistakes I made, you know. So it will be very easy for you to go about things, you know. So when you know that, okay, I want to achieve this, and you believe in your mentor, you know that, okay, this person has experienced this, you know. So the fact that this person has experienced this before, if I listen to them, it will be very easy for me to make it, you know. So there now, it's up to you to decide. A mentor will advise you on what to do and what not to do. If you decide to do the other thing, it's on you. Like, you can't blame it on the person. So there now, it's a personal decision that one has to make. Yeah.
And then how do I choose a mentor? Like someone to help me through life.
Okay. So I think like I asked that question, I asked my pastor. So he said, for him, like he advised me. What he said was, you know, when choosing a mentor, you need to know first, what do I want to achieve in life? I'll give this example. Let's say you are your interest is media. Then you say, I want to be mentored by a doctor. How is he going to mentor you? You know? How is he going to mentor you? You know? So most of the time when choosing a mentor, you choose maybe someone who's in like what of the things is doing, maybe are the things you're interested in. Then there are also some mentors where you just learn maybe things about life, like general. So you can't only have one mentor. You can have a number of mentors. Maybe this one mentors you in this, then the other one mentors you in that. So it depends with what you're interested in. So you can't say no. Yeah. So like I've put it. I think when it comes to a mentor, you choose someone who you share interests with. Yes. Yeah, so if you're interested in this, then you choose a mentor who, like for example, if you love music so much, you can choose someone who understands music. They'll mentor you in that area. If you love sports so much, you can choose someone who has gone ahead of you, like in that area. Then they'll mentor you. Yes.
So true. Yeah. So like, is because you talking about you started the business. Was it 2019?
Yes, I can say 2018 December.
Yes, 2018.
Yeah.
I think by that time you were not yet married.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah. So figuring from that point where you are single, how were you able to manage, like, because it's not easy for a single person. I think it's different now, the way you can save up money and the way you can attend to responsibilities. But when you're single, how were you able to stand in the business? And what were some of the challenges that you were having as a young person before you were married? Yeah, the discipline.
Okay, so yeah, that's a very good question, and yeah, it's not easy. I started my business in December. Let me just say, December 2018. So you'd find that the business was bringing in money, and like you said, I think at the time, when money comes, I remember there was a point I would eat Hungry Lion throughout from like the whole month, like I could afford it. So I eat Hungry Lion, eat pizza and whatnot. And I was lucky. I met my wife. I met her, I think that was 2019, towards the end of 2019. So with her, she's the total opposite of me. For me at the time, like I was a big spender, but with her, she was, I remember she told me this. She said, for me, it's very unattractive when a man is spending on me and I don't know what his future is. So, when she told me that, it hit me. I started thinking, I was like, what do you mean by that? She said, for me, I would be more interested to know where you're going with your future than you just spending on me. So always, like the moment she came into my life, like if you remember, I talked about her making a financial database for me. So the moment she made that financial database for me, it helped me. It started guiding me to know how to save and how to spend. So I started learning bit by bit. I started avoiding, like, I would avoid buying unnecessary things, because like you said, when you're single, when it comes to cooking, it's an issue. You feel lazy to cook, so you'd be eating junk food here and there. So, but there came a point whereby I started controlling that bit by bit. It wasn't easy, but I would control it. And the moment I start drifting away, my girlfriend would remind me, no, this is not the goal. You told me this and you told me that. So she would always help me come back on track. Then also my mentor would also like help me, like they would remind me what I'm supposed to do. Then also, because I bought my first car before I married, because I told myself, I was like, okay, before I marry, I need to have a car. So the moment, a car is not a small project, it's a very big project. So the moment I said I need to buy a car, so, just by virtue of me thinking of buying a car, it gave me like, it became a goal. So all my focus was on that. I remember by then I was working with some guys, I would subcontract, I would work with this guy and the other guy. Then when I saw how big the goal was, the one we had, we decided with my girlfriend, she was like, okay, I'll be working with you and you won't be paying me. I think we worked together for almost a year. She wasn't getting paid until we achieved that goal. That's when I started paying her. Yeah.
Wow.
So it wasn't an easy thing, but yeah. So I can say she really helped me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the point you mentioned about the time you went bankrupt, what really caused that? What exactly was the situation?
Okay, so like I said, the media business, it's seasonal. Like it's not like you'll be having clients throughout. I think it was in 2020. You know, when university just opens, like for the media business, the way it works, I think I can say from January all the way to from January, I think in May, that's when you have a few clients. Then May, June, you don't have clients. It starts picking in August. So you'd find that you have the expensive equipment, but you don't have money. So as a result, you'll be forced, you look at the camera, you're like, this is money sleeping. It's not working, you know? So you sell, then you sell this, you sell that. Then when business comes back, like when it peaks, you don't have equipment. So you find that you have to start from scratch. You start buying one by one. And you know, photography equipment is very expensive. So you start buying one by one. So most of the time, like it was, they going bankrupt. It's because you'd find that, you know, right now, the way I'm running my business right now, I even prepare myself for days when I won't have money, you know. So when you do that, you prepare. Like for the media business, it's a business. When you have money, save the money, like know how you're going to manage it the days you won't have money. So I used to go bankrupt before I understood the principle of saving. The moment I learned that when you have money, you don't spend all of it, you save. That's when now everything started changing. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. So like they say that for every business to survive, you need to have secrets. I've been told that others have a spiritual backing, they have secrets that they have instituted in their business for it to stand firm and the like. So yeah, like for you personally, what have been the secrets that have made you to be consistent?
Yeah, of course, the spiritual backing, you know. There's I've noticed these trends in my business. The moment I say I don't tithe, things become slow, you know. They become very slow. Like I've seen this happening, you know. The moment I have any business, I just tithe. I just remove the tithe. I even become surprised how like this one is calling you, this one is calling you, this one is calling you, you know. So for me, I can say this for sure. Even just the name for my business itself, it came from like I've seen what God has given me, you know. So for me, I know for sure if I don't tithe, business becomes slow. Then also the other thing, like I've learned. I remember there was a time. I wanted to open a photo studio. Then when I was still trying, I bought a few equipment, so I was trying to set it up. Then I only had one client. That person came and I did the photo shoot and they paid me, I think, a 300 kwacha. Then when they gave me that 300, I was broke. I had not had money in a very long time. Then I remember, like when I had that money, I put it in my pockets. I was convicted that you should sow that man as a seed. I was like, God, is this you? You know, because this is the only man I have. You know, I was convicted. I just said, no, this is not God. This is just my thoughts. I stayed home. I don't even know how I found myself. I walked. I found myself, I was by pastor's place. Before I knew it, my hand was in the pocket. Before I knew it, I was like, pastor, I have a seed. You know, so when I gave him, I started thinking when I was walking back home, I was like, what have I done? You know? But you know, as small as that money is, you know, from that time, like I saw business started happening, you know, like things started happening. I remember my wife prays a lot. By then she was just my girlfriend. You know, she was praying. Then God showed her this vision. She said, you know, a time is coming when you have so much business that you won't even be able to handle it yourselves. Then God showed her when the fishermen, is it Peter? When they were fishing, actually when Jesus entered the boat and told Peter to cast the net, they were able to fish so much fish such that the boat started sinking, you know. So she told me that that's what's going to happen. So you need to be ready for that. And you know, the time that was happening, it was during COVID and things were bad, you know. And for sure, let me say 2020, 2021, I had so much business such that there were times where by one day I would even have 5 people who've booked me. So what I started doing now, I'll start subcontracting. I tell this person go and cover that wedding, this one go and cover that wedding, this one go and cover that, me I'll cover this, you know. So spiritual backing, that's what has worked in my life.
Wow.
What would you tell those people who think tithing is just maybe the church wants money, they want to steal your money or something? There are those people who believe that.
What I can tell those people, they should try it. They'll testify. Yeah, they should just try, you know. Because tithing, you're not doing it for the pastor. You're not doing it for anyone. It's for you, you know. And it's an instruction. It's there in the Bible, you know. It's God who instructed us to give our tithe, you know. There's one billionaire I was reading about. I can't remember his name. But he said, okay, you know what? He used to tithe. Then he said, let me give it a try. Let me see what will happen if I stop tithing. He stopped for some time. His business started going down, going down, going down. He even told the people, you see, I stopped tithing. This is my money now. This is how much my money has reduced. So he said, let me start tithing and you'll see. And for sure, the business started booming, you know. Then I remember back in the day, I was following, I don't know if you know Strive Masiwa. I was the founder for, is it Econet? He's from Zimbabwe, but he's now, I think, based in Canada. You know, Strive Masiwa has, is a very big businessman, you know. So I was studying about him. I was learning. There was a sport that was going on in South Africa where the boats were racing. So the racing of those boats, they called Strive Masiwa. They told him, we want you to advertise your business on our boats, the ones that will be racing, like brand them using your company name. So he asked them how much. I think they gave him the quotation. It was a lot of money. So what he did was he just told his accountant, he said, that amount that these people have asked for us to advertise our business, I want you to get that money and find local churches that are struggling, give them that money, like just distribute among the churches. God is the one who advertises my business. And guess what? Right now, as I speak, Strive Masiwa is one of the big businessmen. Should do research about him.
Wow.
Very wealthy guy. He's from Zimbabwe, but right now he's based in the UK. In Canada. He's a very big guy. So, you know, there are people, like the moment you believe, like for me, trust me, there was a point where I used to say, actually, all the photos I've taken as Zanja Media, I've never put my watermark. My principle was, you know, God is the one who's giving me this business, and I'll do it, like I'll give it my best. And when I take pictures for someone, it's going to tell someone, and someone will tell someone, and it will become a chain. And that's how it has worked for me. I've never put a watermark on my works.
Wow.
Never. Like it's been, when I do business with you, it will go to the next person, just like that. That's how it's been. Yeah.
Yes, let's take this to just another direction after questions. So, personally, I used to read books.
Yes.
Now, it's kind of shaky.
Yes.
So, what was happening was I read, but then you get inspired, you get motivated. Yeah. There's no money. You've got business ideas, you try with people. Yes. It's failing, and then you start wondering now, is this even practical what they're saying in the books? You know, it works. As for you, you've seen the people he's mentioning. Yes. So like seeing that for me it wasn't like really practical. So I started, okay, maybe I do something practical, maybe just open like a shop or something. You get So how do you keep that like burning when it's just failing? It's
interesting. Have you seen the book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad? Yeah. You've seen that book, huh? I'll tell you this. I think that was in 2009. I was in grade 9. I had that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, by Robert Kiyosaki. I learned one thing from that book that has changed my life. What I learned was he talked about the rich dad always told his son that you need to work hard in school, get good grades, and get a good job and get paid.
Yes.
So the motivation there was money, you know. But the poor dad would always tell the son, don't work for money. Let money work for you, you know. So for me, when I read that, you know, I was like, okay, you know what? The moment I was done with high school, I got a job somewhere. I was working in a shop called Trendy Gifts in Kitwe. We used to sell a lot of different things. The pay was not big, but at the time I was young, it was enough like to sustain me. You know, I would work, I would give it my best, and I would never think of money. Money would never be my motivation. Life went on. I was in university, so if you remember, I even said when I started my media business, my motivation and my goal was not to make money. It was interest, and I saw the money started coming, and it was exciting. Even the Zanja Motors business, the way I started this business, you know, it's interesting. I bought the first car for myself to use, but I struggled to bring the car in. Like the agent I was dealing with, he had a lot of issues here and there, you know. So I was like, okay, you know what? I got an opportunity. My pastor wanted to invest in, there's like a business he's doing. So he wanted to invest in 2 cars. So he said, let's go together to Nakonde. We traveled to Nakonde, picked the cars, came back. So I was like, okay. So it was exciting for me just going to Nakonde, coming back. So I remember there was a time when Pastor bought a car. I think it was a Mercedes Benz. He sent me to Nakonde. Then he said you should come with a driver. The driver should drive the car to Lusaka. You should just be with him since it's a Benz, you know. Yeah. So the car needs to be safe. So I went to Nakonde. Then Pastor was like, have you organized the driver? I said, yes, I have. We'll be starting off. I just got the car. I said, there's no driver. I'm driving this car. You know, I drove the Mercedes Benz from Nakonde to Lusaka alone. When I got to Lusaka, Pastor was like, where's the driver? I want to pay him. I said, there's no driver. I drove the car. I was like, you drove the car from Nakonde to Lusaka alone? I said, yes, I did. So, you know, there, I didn't even want him to pay me. But I was just excited, like to drive to bring the car, you know. So even when I was there, he was like, he wanted to pay. I said, no, Pastor, don't pay me. Just transport and everything, it's okay. Don't pay me. He was shocked. He was like, you drove the car. You know, from that time, I would go to Nakonde, pick his cars, bring, like I wouldn't even demand for a pay. For me, it was passion. Like I was excited with what I was doing. To this day, there have been a number of people I've brought in cars for, and they've never paid me, not even a coin. And you know, the more I bring in cars, the more I learn about this business, and the more I make money in other ways, you know. So I've never, ever put money first. So when it comes to motivation, when you can be motivated, but the issue comes in, you know, I've met a number of people. They come to you, they tell you, oh, I want to do this business. And already in their mind, they have figures. How much they want to be making, how much profit they'll be making from that business. I've met a number of people that do that. But I was motivated by Rich Dad Poor Dad. Don't put money first. And he said the rich don't work for money, but they let money work for them. You know. So that's the principle I've been running with. For me, trust me. If you ask me, do this job for me, how much am I going to pay you? It will be hard for me to tell you how much you're going to pay me. Why? Because I don't work for money, you know. I'll do something with my level best, and it's up to you to know how much you're going to pay me, you know. But of course, as business grows, I'll have accountants and other people that I'll be working with. Those are the ones who'll be handling that. But me, as Charles, I do not work for money. And where did I learn that principle? From Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah.
So you just have to keep on reading to...
Yeah, you know, and this is what happens actually. I've also met people who say, we're learning mathematics, Pythagoras theorem. Where are we going to use that? You know, there are a number of people that say that. I'll tell you this: when we're driving, you saw I reversed from where you stay all the way to the main road.
Yes.
When you look at all that, that's mathematics. Yeah. You're looking at the angles. Oh, that's mathematics. You know, it's the same with books. When you read a book today, you will not know where you're going to use that information. But a point to come where you do something, you say something, you're like, oh, so it's from that book I read, you know. So it's from that motivation that I had. And also it's like there's reading books, motivation, then there's also like watching motivational videos. So they say motivation is like bathing. You cannot stop, you can't bath once and say chapo shaka sambe foot. That's it. You know, you need to keep on bathing. It's the same with motivation. You need to keep on listening to motivation videos. You need to keep on reading books. The more you read, the bigger you become. That's just how it is.
Wow.
You mentioned making 11,000. Calculating making 11,000. Why did you drop out? Making money.
I think
Because the business.
You know, it's I don't know how I can put it. It's you know, school. This is one thing I'm going to tell you. It's very important to be in school. And dropping out, I've met a number of people who say when they are saying about no, I can drop out. They are rich people. They'll give examples of Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, all those to be university dropouts. Yeah, you know, university is very important. School is very important. Like I'll give an example. For me, most of the people I've done business with, I met them in university. Imagine you make a 11 pin, you drop out. It means there are just limited people you've met. Because for me, I know for sure, well, me going to university, I didn't go to university to start working. I went to university to learn one or two things, then network, then people, like meet people there, then just get the exposure, you know. In university, there's a levels, you know, today, even you guys who are in school, when you meet a friend you were in high school with, just when you start talking to them, if they've never been to college, you can tell, not that the person will be sounding down, but just by the way they're talking, you can be like, you know, you can tell just by the person is talking. So university or college, there's a level of exposure it gives you, you know. Yeah. So it's very important. For me, I cannot advise someone or encourage someone, no, because you're making money, don't go to school. No. If you're making money, go to school. It will give you more exposure. It will be easier for you to even make more money because you will learn how certain things work, you know. Without you being educated, like without you just having exposure to be in school, it's very hard for you to understand certain things. So if you're in school, I feel like, though one of the most difficult thing is when you're doing business and school, one has to suffer. And most of the time, school suffers. If you used to be an A+ student, the moment you start doing business, just know that it's B, you know. School has to suffer. It's hard. Very few people can manage. You're doing well in business and you're doing well in academics. I remember in first year, I was doing like well in academics, but the moment I became so focused on business, my academics started suffering because there was a point you'd find that I'll be in town the whole day, like just doing business. I'm coming, yes, I'll miss all my classes. You know, when you write your exams, you're like, I want to go clear, you know. Life goes on, yeah. I think basically that, yeah.
That's
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, very much. I was listening to a podcast once. They said the school period, university period, is the time where you connect and learn.
That's true. Yeah.
About life.
Yes.
So if you skip that stage,
yes,
your adulthood,
yes,
suffers very much.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
There's a lot to digest.
Yeah.
A lot to take in. I'm really enjoying this conversation. And it's how you, in everything you're saying, it's how you're bringing out, I've noticed you're bringing out God.
Yes.
God. For most, it's so sad to say actually, for most Christians, it's not the story. They're church people, but you look at their finances, not so well. How do you incorporate the two, your success and your Christian walk?
Okay, so you know, for me, one thing I know and understand for sure, I tell my wife this almost every time we're having a conversation. You know, the moment I decided to say, no, I'm self-made, I don't need God in my life, I feel like my business can go down, you know, because like everything I've done, actually, you know, it was, I think, back in university, I used to go to the chapel lawns. I would go there to pray. So I remember there was this time I was praying, like I prayed and prayed and prayed. And you know how praying, I don't know, God just showed me a vision. I saw a car and it had a number plate. And that number plate I saw, at the time I had not seen it anywhere, you know. So God showed me that. Then I was like, okay, what's this? You know, when he showed me that, I think after a month, I was walking on campus. Then I found a car parked. It had the same number plate I saw. Wow, okay, so God can show you something in the future, huh? I was like, so God, you mean me I can buy a car and this, the one broke like this, I don't even have money to like to buy food per day for, you know? I was like, okay. Anyway, so, you know, I continued like believing in God. Then one thing, why my business and God need to move hand in hand. You know, there've been so many times whereby, you know, when you're a Christian, it's like God will always give you a leakage. When you pray, He will show you what's in the future, you know. So you start preparing, like you be prepared. So you'd find that I've experienced situations whereby people are complaining about business, but for me, things are happening. I've seen that happen before. And I know for sure it's not because I'm the best or I'm smart. It's because I know others are trusting in what's happening around them. Me, I put my trust in God. You know, there have been times whereby I bring in a car for sale. The car will reach today, tomorrow it's sold. I've also seen people whereby they bring in a car. It will take even 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, they're just trying to sell, you know. But for me, even before I buy any car for sale for Zanja Motors, I'll sit down, I'll pray. And you'd find that when I go on the internet, I'll see one car and I'll know that this is my car. Even if I don't have money at that particular time, but I'll know this is my car and I'm going to buy this car. I'll stay and that car will wait for me until I have money, until I buy it. There's that sports car I once had, if you remember it, yes.
The Nissan?
No, it was that one. It was a Toyota GT86.
Yes, I
You know, when I saw that car on B Forward, it was very expensive. But the moment I saw it, my heart told me, this is your car.
Oh.
I was like, that's expensive. I can't afford this car.
Can you have an approximation?
I think the time I saw that car, my net worth was, I think the car I could afford at the time, I think it was between 100 to 135. But that car, I think, was above 200. Yeah, it was above 200,000. But I was like, okay. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Then I told my wife, I showed her pictures. I was like, I want to buy this car. I was like, babe, that car is expensive. You just forget about it. Then I called a friend. He was also in the same line of business. I told him, bro, there's this car I found. I think I want to buy it. He said, that car is nice, but I think level to Lipo, we shouldn't be thinking about such cars. I said, okay. I forgot about that car. Time went. I saw it again. And God told me, this is your car. You know, you buy this car. I said, okay, we'll see what will happen. There's a car that I had. It was on the way coming. At that time, it was a Lexus 2013 model. That car came. The day the car came, I washed it. After washing it, I didn't even want to take pictures because I was convicted that the moment you post this photo, this car on social media, it will be gone. You know, I didn't even enjoy that car. I didn't even drive it. I just posted photos in the morning. I think it was at 10 hours. I posted the photos around 9, 10 hours, someone called. They were like, I want to see that car now. I had to hesitate to go and see that person because I knew the moment I see this person, my car will be gone. I delayed. I just did other things. Then I was like, let me just go and see him. You know, the car, the tires, like it came from Japan, but the tires were finished. I went, I saw the guy. The first thing he noticed were the tires. But when he entered the car, he said, I'm buying this car. But give me discount on the tires. I said, no, boss, that's the best price I can do. If you don't want, let me go. Because I knew that this guy is going. So I just said, let me go. The guy was hesitant, just like, no, but just wait. He kept on looking at the car. He said, let's go to the bank. He didn't even test drive the car. We just went to the bank. He gave me the money. I went on Beford. I told them, give me the invoice for this sports car. That's why I bought that car. You know, I didn't even have all the monies, but I just paid. The car was shipped, and God made the way. I had all the monies. That's how the car came in. You know, wow. So yeah, so God has really, really been good, you know. And there's another car I bought. It was a silver Mercedes Benz, not this one outside. There was another silver Mercedes Benz, and the way I really wanted the car, but I didn't know which car to buy, and I didn't have money. But I knew that I needed the car. So I once opened an account using the phone number for my wife on Beford. So these guys from Pakistan, they go in the Beford database, then they just get random cars. They send, like, you see, like, so they sent this particular Mercedes Benz to my wife. So she showed me, babe, there's this guy from Pakistan is texting me. He sent me this car. I went, I checked the photos. You know, that Benz had everything I wanted in a Benz. It had everything. Then I looked at the price was high. So I told my wife, I was like, hey, this car, this is the Benz I've been looking for. But I don't have money. What are we going to do? So I had the sports car with me, and I saw that online. I said, God to make a way. You know, that car stayed. It waited for me until I had money. I paid for the car. And the same story happened when that Benz came. It was nice. You know, it was among the Mercedes Benz I've had, like, it was one of those nice cars. And even when Pastor saw it, was like, wow, this is a nice car. You know, I think he was motivated. He never liked silver Benz, but right now you've seen, he's driving a silver Mercedes Benz. Yes. So it's like, this is a very nice color, you know. So at least I motivated my Pastor Sam, you know. So when the car came, I washed it. I posted it on Facebook. 3 people called me. They wanted to buy the car. So I said, I told one, okay, I'll be coming. So I decided to pass through the car wash. I go and see it. So while I was at the car wash, this man comes. He starts going around the car. It's like, I said, yes, I'm selling it. I'm just washing it. I take to the bar. I said, I'm buying it. I said, but I have a buy it for me. Call him, tell him, I've bought the car. I said, but sir, I said, let's just go to his park. He took me to his park. He called his friend. His friend is very good with Mercedes Benz. The friend came, just checked the car. Then he told him, this guy, it's a sweet machine, buy it. So the guy just said, okay, let's go to the bank. He gave me the money. That's how the deal was sold. That's how the car was gone, you know. So always, I've seen that, like, God has always, he's always gone ahead of me. He's always shown me what to do. He's always done that. So to answer your question, I feel like for me, it has always been God. That's why even when it comes to business, trust me, I know for sure. If I said, no, let me just use my wisdom to choose things or to do this, I feel it can be very slow. I think I've done it on like once in a while, whereby I just do things without listening to God, and it always backfires, you know. So I've chosen to trust in God. Whatever I do, I always go ahead and trust God. I just say, no, God, this one I'm trusting you. Wow. You know, so that's why it's been easy for me to do both business and continue believing in God, because everything I have today, it's been Him. Wow. Has been my provider.
So like this is way too heavy for us who are consuming. So like how has it been, like, personally, from the time, like, in terms of how Zanja Media and Zanja Motors has grown, from the time that you were single, then now you're married, like, how has it been in terms of its growth?
Okay.
How can you compare the two, the time you were single and now that you're married?
Okay, you know, just as the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from God. I've seen that happening in my life, you know. Before I was married, as Zanja Motors, I think the highest numbers were brought in, like the number of the cars were brought in at once. I think I used to bring in one car. Once, like some months, another car comes just like that, just like that. But when I married, you know, I've been married now. I think if we're to count, I think it's 1 year, 1 year and 1 year, 1 week. Yes, 1 year, 1 week.
Wow.
And you know, from the time I married, early this year, Zanja Motors, I think, brought in 3 cars at once.
Wow.
From 3 cars at once, we moved to 5 cars at once. We moved to 6 cars at once. Then right now, as I'm speaking, I have we have 8 cars coming.
Wow.
We have 8 cars coming at once. And those 8 cars that are coming, you'd find that God has been so good. Not only at the moment, not only are we ordering just cars for ourselves to sell, but there are also people who've seen what we are doing. Then they'll come, they'll be like, oh, I want a car from Japan. Then tell the person, okay, we'll help you with the entire process. The car will be delivered to your doorstep. Wow. So the business has been growing. We've moved from just having 1 car, it comes, you sell, to having a number of cars coming for selling. Then also to having people who want to just use Zanja to bring in their cars.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've seen that favor from the time I married everything has been magnified. Like, you know, everything has been growing financially. I've seen some growth. Yes, there've been struggles here and there, but most of the time it's been growth. Yeah, we've really, really grown. We've been growing, yeah.
So we're running out of time. It's your time. Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
We've been recording for how many minutes? For 1 hour.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the media side.
Yes.
So when we started in school, it was just photography and video.
Yes.
Now what are you into right now?
Actually, no. In school, it was photography, videography, then graphic designing. Then I also I took it further. I had friends in town. You know, I started printing banners as well. I didn't have the machines, but when I go to town, I would use these guys, use their machines, just like that. Then as time went by, they became my friends. So I started now using their machines. I'll just go to town, whatever I want to do, like I'd print t-shirts, I'll print whatever, then I'll just give them something. So I started doing photography, videography, graphic designing, printing. I would print banners, I would print billboards, I would print t-shirts. Because I remember there was a time I printed a number of banners and sent them to Chinsadi. So when you go to Chinsadi, like what I was doing was I was putting Zanja Media just in the corner, and like a small phone number, and I would receive a number of phone calls from Napula. I would print, send, print just like that. So it wasn't only photography, videography, but I was doing other things. Yeah, back in school.
So until now, how is it going?
So at the moment, when it comes to media, you know, one of the challenges I'm facing right now when it comes to the media business, you know, there's in photography, there's what is known as a catch. Like I can be working with you, I can send you to go and take pictures, but when you take pictures, as long as it's not me who's done the works, when someone looks at them, they can know that, no, he sent someone. Because there's a way you do things. Like for me, when I take photos, I'm not trying to brag or boast, but what people say, there's this company that I used to work with most of the time. It's called GS Cash Advance. It's a very big company. I remember there was a time when they want me, I'm in Dar es Salaam. They want me, I'm in Akonde. So I would send people. So the marketing manager just called me. So she was like, you know, Charles, we appreciate that Zanja Media has been coming through, but when we look at the works that you're producing these days, they're not telling our story. You know, like you, when you capture, even if someone was not there, they can tell the story from what they're seeing, you know. So at the moment, it's been a bit hard for me to find someone who understands what needs to be done. So you find that as a result, when it comes to the media business, what I've done is I've stopped putting it out there. So most of the time you'd find that most of the weekends I'm working, but how do I work? Those people who know what I'm capable of doing, they still book me, and I'm still like I work. So like the last Saturday I was shooting a kitchen party. Then this coming Saturday, I have a maternity photo shoot. So you find that people are still booking, but I've not really put it out there because I know I don't want a situation whereby someone books you, then you send someone else, then they don't like what has been produced. So I really need to find someone I'll be able to work with, someone who's going to understand what needs to be done. Someone, you know, like for me, like I told you, when I'm working, I don't put money first. I've worked with people whereby you're working, he's thinking, how much are we making here where we're working? But for me, I go all out. Like I won't think about money. I won't complain. I'll just do what needs to be done. When I'm done, I'm done. Yeah. So I want to find someone who has that, and you know, it's not an easy thing. You know, it's not easy because you'd find that you can tell someone that maybe someone at that particular time, they have bills to sort out. So you can't tell someone that don't put money first. It's hard. So it takes a lot, you know, it takes a lot. But when the person is found, so Zanja Media is very much active. It's working even as we speak. The number of bookings that I get. But yeah, it's not as busy as it used to be when I was back in campus. Yeah, at the moment, the one which is very busy, it's the one for cars, the Zanja Motors. It's the one which is very active at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've really learned a lot.
Yeah.
It's an hour now.
Yeah, an hour. You still have 4 questions, but how did you go? You have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so me behind the camera, I'm into media.
Yes.
I want to get into this space. So, like, what advice would you give someone who's getting into that area?
Okay. So the advice I would give the person is, you know, everything right now in the world is becoming digital. So if a person, whatever you do in the media industry, digital, be it photography, graphic designing, videography, you're guaranteed you make something out of it. Because right now, everything is online, you know. So gone are the days, because I was even telling someone that, you know, for me in the future, if the world would be as it is right now when my son is growing up, I would be happy if he came to me and said, Dad, I want to go and study photography. I would want to go and study. Yes, you know, because people think, okay, no, you just have to become a lawyer, you have to become a doctor, you have to become what for you to make it. But gone are the days when that used to happen. Imagine the way I came to pick you up in that Mercedes Benz, and I told someone I'm a cameraman. They'll be like, a cameraman driving that Mercedes Benz, you know. So gone are the days when that used to be the case. So right now, if someone has interest in graphic designing, photography, all this, go for it. Like, just do it, and room will be there. Because, you know, also, like, if you're in Lusaka, Lusaka is too big, you know. I remember when I was starting photography, someone said, everyone now is going to photography. So, you know, I was almost discouraged, but I was like, okay, you know what, do this. You can, it's passion, just do it, you know. So there's room for everyone, you know. There's room. If you started today, you became good at it, trust me, there's always someone out there who's going to need your services, you know. So just give it your best. And, you know, there are also like levels. You can be a photographer who's at a certain level. Because I have a friend right now, you know, him, when it comes to photography, if you call him, he's not going to get anything less than 10,000. If it's less than 10 pinta money, he's not going to come. You know, he's moved. And this guy, when we were just starting out, he used to get 50 kwatas. I remember I once booked him to take pictures of me. I paid him a 50 kwacha on the rooftop. He captured me here and there. We worked together. But right now, if you're booking him, he can't get anything less than 10,000. If you just want a photo shoot, like in the house, he will charge you. Like, he will charge you. And if you say, no, that's expensive, he'll tell you, go and find someone cheaper. you know. So it gets to that level. So it's the one industry, if you have passion in this industry, you can just give it your best and it work out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like I have these two burning questions.
Yes.
What was your most depressing thing that you ever incurred during your period of starting your business, like something that even wanted to make you give up? And what was your biggest achievement so far?
Okay. I think, like I said, you know, for me, it was that period I talked about whereby there's a season when there's no business. So there was a season where everything was slow, like there was no business, you're in school, you tried to post some nice photos on your WhatsApp status, on social media, there's just nothing, you know. So there was that season, like it came and it was so bad, and bit by bit I started selling my equipment. I remember I sold, what was that I was selling? I think I decided to sell I think it was a bag for my camera. Actually, no, a battery. But there's a camera I had, it had 2 batteries. So I decided, let me sell one. I remain with one just to survive. You know, it was so bad during that period. Then the guy I want to sell the camera to, I mean the battery to, in town, he asked me what my media house name was. I told him. He said, wow, you take very nice pictures. So I said, okay, he bought the battery. Then he said, I'll be calling you. We'll be working together from time to time. You know, that guy started, that day when I sold him the camera, it was the battery, it was during the week. On the weekend, he called me. We went to, I think it was Intercontinental. Yeah, it was Intercontinental. We worked. He gave me some to my manners. I was like, oh, okay. God, this is happening. Huh? So, you know, it didn't last for a very long time. You'd find that he would call you. You're here, you work, there, you work, there, you work. And I was able to recover. So I think for me, when the business started, I've gone like bankrupt, but not where you are very broke, whereby you can't get up. Because you know the beauty with the media business, the most important thing is a skill. You know, when you have the skill, it's very easy for you to, like when someone books you and you know that I'll be working this weekend and you don't have the equipment, you outsource. You call this one, you call that one, you call that one, you gather the equipment, you can work, you know. So it's one business that once you have the skill, no one can take away from you. You know, it becomes part of you. It's who you are. That skill will be new. So wherever you go, all you need is just equipment to work. You know, so it's a type of business. Once you have it, that's it. No one will take away from you. You just keep on advancing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the whole journey of yours is about God.
Yes.
So in times where you feel like, okay, Papa, God, you mentioned your mentor, of course, your wife, but then, okay, in times where there is no one, how do you now, like, sit down and find God? How do you listen to that voice?
Okay, so
you can't really listen.
yeah. So I'm reminded of when I was in first year. Just there where I picked you up from by Monk Square. I was by Africa One. You know Africa One, huh? It used to be for monks before they gave it to Momas. So what used to happen was, when I'm under pressure, like I would always go on the rooftop, I cry for a bit, then I go I go downstairs and sleep. But you know, one thing that has happened at the moment, most of the time, like when I'm stuck, I don't really know what to do. And there are times whereby you're stuck, you don't even have strength to pray. For me, most of the time, what I do is I just go visit my mentor. You know, I'll be with my mentor, I'll just be chatting like the way we're talking. You'll find that when we talk, he will just maybe mention 1 or 2 things and an idea will come. Then I'll come home, pray about it, I found my solution. That happens most of the time. So for me, I feel like there are times whereby when I'm just alone, I'll have ideas, but you'd find that when I'm under pressure and I don't know what to do, The more I'm alone, the more I'll start thinking about, I won't find a solution. My thoughts will just become confused. But most of the time, so like I'll talk to my wife. If not my wife, I'll talk to my mentor. Then they will give me advice. I remember there was one time, actually when the sports car was coming, I had spent all my monies like on that car. Then I didn't know where the other man was going to come from. I went outside. I was seated like this. I was like, why did I buy that guy expensive car? Then I understood why parents, there were days whereby parents is just seated like this. You don't know what they're thinking about, So I got there. Then I called a friend. We were just chatting. He was also under pressure. He was also in the same business. So he just came. We started chatting, talking. After we talked, he went. Then my wife said, everything will be okay. I think a few days later, she received a phone call from someone she was working with. So the person was like, you told me your husband sells cars. She said, yeah. She said, okay, we have this fortune. I've been trying to sell it for a long time, and it's been hard for us to find a buyer. Can you help us sell the car? I said, no problem. Send us the photos. They sent us the photos, posted that car on my page. I think within, it was like a week later, someone called. Then we went to see the person in McKinney. Then there was another white person who took his Fortuner there. But the moment they saw our Fortuner, he stood out. Then we negotiated. The person said, look, I'm buying the car. So the person agreed with my wife that if the car is sold, we'll give you commission. And I think it was about 15%. And that, I think it was, I can't remember the percentage, but the man I think was almost like 40,000, So the moment we sold, they transferred that money to us. That's how I and so that's how it has always been. So it felt that when the pressure comes, just talk to the right people. Then afterwards, you'd find that God will just bring a solution, because I wasn't expecting that fortune to come our way and to say, and imagine we're getting a commission of almost like 40,000. That was a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, most of the time for me, when pressure just comes and I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. I'll just run to my mentor, who happens to be my pastor. I'll just be there, I'll be chatting, we'll talk. And you'd find that him will just be advising you, just be talking maybe about his personal experience, about his personal things that are going on in his life. Then an idea will come. Because for me, most of the time, actually, when I'm with my mentor, my pastor, you'd find that we like dealing with figures. Like calculator, when he says something, I'll get my calculator, I'll do the calculations, and I'll tell you, but okay, it's not working out in this way. So we'll work with figures, numbers here and there, then until we find a solution. And it's for me, I think I even thank God having a mentor who happens to be your pastor. That rarely happens, because he will advise you spiritually. Then also, I'm lucky the fact that my pastor, my mentor, is also into business. So he understands business, so you can talk to him business, you can talk to him concerning your spiritual life, you can talk to him like he's one person, like you can talk about different things. So you'd find that when I have pressure, I'll just go to him, I'll tell him, Pastor, what do you think I should do here? Then he'll tell you, okay, there I think do this or do that, and most of the time when I listen to him, it works out for me. Yeah. Yeah.
This is really worth hearing.
Yeah.
We've had a great conversation. 1 hour, 1 hour 20.
It's like a movie now.
Okay.
I think all has been exhausted.
Okay.
I'll say that last.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, if you have, then I'll close it today.
Oh, that's good. Okay. I don't even know where to start, but I'm so humbled that we've had this conversation. Sachos is a very big man. He's very busy, I can tell you. He's very busy. For him to spare this time, we're truly grateful. We are truly grateful. And also, it's one thing that has really even convinced me to say we should really have him, it's your sense of humbleness. You know, most people, me, I always tell myself, and I tell some of my friends, I tell them, the day that I know that I'm truly humble and that I'm a true Christian, I'll still be humble. I'll say I'm really humble. Because things really do just stuff around us do things to us. And it's how you're able to, because just talking to you, just meeting you, somebody won't even know that.
They can't tell.
They can't tell. And we're really happy.
I'm humbled.
So when he came, I saw the guy. I didn't know it was him. That guy. Like he said, we are really surprised by your humbleness. And I was like, what makes you that humble? You know, what?
Okay.
Because let's admit, today we really messed up our heads. But this picked us up. You know, we picked us up. And he called us first. Imagine our guest calling us not
Okay. I think, you know, for me, one thing I've learned over the years is we are humans, and you know you need to be a human being. I've made people are very difficult, and for me, I think I tried by all means. I think it's just in me, you know. Growing up, my growing up was not that easy. Like, we're comfortable, but I struggled here and there, you know. And I feel like Pastor Prince said last time, you know, like it humbles you, you know. It humbles you. So I think seeing where I'm coming from and where I've reached, I think it's hard for me to boast, you know, because I've been humbled before. So even where I am right now, I know where I am right now, this is not where I'm supposed to go. I'm still growing, you know. So the moment God blesses you a bit and you develop pride, you become proud, I think you'll be content to just end there, you know. Because my first I tell people, it was a witz. When some people say witz, they don't even believe it. Someone was like, how did you manage to move from a Vitz to a GT86? How is that even possible? You know, there was a time when I had a Ractis, so I wanted to get a Lexus. Then this person told me, Charles, just be content, just be where you are. I said, yes, I am, but you know, I know for sure I need to grow. Like, I haven't reached where I'm supposed to be, you know. So back in the day, like when it comes to talking, I'm one person I express myself, I don't pretend. So there were people a long time ago who used to say, Wamachiki and whatnot, but as time went by, people started understanding me, and people who don't know me, they might think, I remember there have been a number of times when I go to Dar es Salaam or go to Nakonde, like the boys I work with, the ones who bring the cars for me, before they came where I stay, you'd find that when you go to Nakonde, you just be walking in Crocs. You just now go to Luka, because there's a lot of dust in Nakonde. So they'll just be there, they'll just be looking at you. So there was a day they came to Lusaka, then I told them, you should come home. So just a while we welcomed them, they went and started saying, you know that man who comes walking in Crocs? You know, they were thinking maybe about staying in a one-roomed house. They were thinking maybe it was just one of those things, you know, because their life is simple. So that's the perception they had. So when they came, it was totally different. So from that day, they were like, but they said the same thing you've said. You're so humble, and when you come, someone can even meet you. You know. So I think for me, and I pray to God that should continue being the case. Even if I'm driving a $2 million car, that should be the case. You know, there are people that I look at and admire. Do you know that if you met Mikarile, you met him on the road, you can even say, you know, you wouldn't even know that he's a very big man, he's very rich, you know. So for me, that's what I admire, you know. for me, I don't admire people who have pride. People want to be seen everywhere, you know. Because for me, and if it wasn't for my business, whereby I have to post a car on the status and whatnot, I think I wouldn't want to do any of that posting on social media, posting on my status. I wouldn't want to do that. It's just that the business I'm doing, for me to advertise, it needs to go on my status, you know. But I really pray that God should continue working on me to continue being humble. And just to add on that, my mentor, my pastor always tells me that this. I remember there was a day I was with him. He was telling me that, you know, there comes a time when a man, what you have to be praying for is for God to open financial doors for you. Once God does that, the character of a man, like, is reviewed. You become, yes, you become something else. So he said, once God does that for you, the prayer has to change now. You need to now start praying for character. You know, you need to start praying for character so that God continues working on your character. Once that is done, then that's it.
Wow.
So I've really been praying for God to work on my character, to continue being a person whereby even if you meet people, you're able to relate with them, you're able to talk and whatnot. Yeah.
I think we have to learn from him that he has a power. That's time, you know, that's fuel.
Yeah.
And then in the bed, bro.
And he's not upset. Like even when me, I was late. I was actually running. So that I had the hood. Like he's calling me like that. That level of humbleness is just something to learn. Because even me, like personally, you find that at times you even just have maybe 1,000. The way you even start walking.
Actually, I think back in the day, when I think I was getting to know my wife by then in Onza. She was in fourth year, I was in third year, but Wadi Pompa went for my first. So, you know, actually when we started dating, she was in my final year, I was in third year. So I was, I think I was young. What I would do is when I have money, because like I said, the media business used to give me some money. So when you go to the shops, you want to buy something, I would remove a bunch of money. And I want to buy, and she used to be uncomfortable. She does tell me, no, you don't do that. You know, you don't remove money where people are saying, just remove what you're using. That's it. So, you know, bit by bit, it started getting to me. Right now, trust me, even if I had money and you met me, you do know I have money. Just got into that level, you know. But before you find that when you have money, like the whole world, we even know that this one is happening, this person has money, you know. But God is working on me, and I think, yeah, for me, I pray, no matter how expensive the car will be, driving, no matter how expensive my house will be, I pray that I just continue being humble, where people can even talk to you and relate with you. I think that's how we're human. We're humans, we're people. So God created us to be able to interact with others. So the moment you put pride, becomes a problem. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to bring this up. There's a power in your term, right?
Yes. That's
so I want us to be closing it like this. You mentioned something that you want, you know.
Yes.
Obviously, my question is: have you drive your dream car? Have you
driven my dream car?
Yes.
Yeah, I have. You know, there was a point my dream car used to be Lexus IS250, and I think I've owned it 3 times. So, so right now, I'm still trying to see. I think at the moment I can say I don't have a dream car, because at the time I had my dream car was a Lexus. I did so much research about that car, and you know, I was even thinking that before 2025 I'll have this car. And just last year, 2023, I bought the first one, I bought the second one, and I bought the third one. Yeah.
Is that going in the direction?
Yeah.
Okay, but what's something that you're looking forward to, that you want to achieve?
I'm looking forward to like growth. Yeah. You know, how can I put it? You know, there was a point in my life whereby you'd be, okay, like where I am right now. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there's I have a friend who happens to be a pastor. He's a pastor in Kalumbida, so he's in Osaka right now. So there was a day I was with him, went at Zanja Motors. There was a Benz there. I just saw it on B Forward, and I told him that if all goes well, I'm buying this car before this year ends. And when we went to Zanja Motors, we asked, how much is this car going for? I told 65,000 US dollars. That's like 1.7 million Zambian kwacha. But I told him, I said, right now as I'm talking to you, I don't have that amount of money to buy that car. But trust me, before this year ends or early next year, you see this car on my status, I've bought it. So I was like, wow, I really like how you're saying it. I said, you know, Pastor, for me, everything, I believe there's power in the tongue. When I say this is what I want, and I know for sure God will start directing me towards that step. He'll continue ordering my steps until I get there, you know. So yeah, so I have a number of goals, but you know, one thing I've learned also about life is not predictable, and life is not like a movie where you know how you're going to do it, how it's going to go, you know. God also he unveils things like step by step, you know. So I have goals. I know, okay, at this point I'll do this, I'll do that. And also, you know, the issue is, for me, most of the time, you'd find that when I give myself a goal, I say by 2025 I'll achieve this goal. You'd find that God will make sure it happens before I even get to 2025. So you'd find that the goal has to change before I even get there, you know. So it's been most of the time when I set a goal, you'd find that I'll be like, okay, I'll do this and I'll do that. I'll have an idea of what I want to do. And when the time comes, it comes to us. Yeah.
Okay, now I think we don't have to end now, because I just thought of something right now.
Okay.
So there are people, me myself, I once felt entitled to have certain stuff, you know, because okay, for us it's way easier now.
Yes.
So at the time I felt entitled to get, you know, some money from my dad because he had it.
Yes.
Like, Daddy, I want to start a business, so
Yes.
because the things you want,
Yes.
So what do you say to someone who feels entitled to have something instead of working for it? For me, I knew I had to work for it, but I felt entitled. What would you tell me then?
Okay. So, you know, for me, this is one thing I've learned. You know, when you work for something yourself, you learn to value it. When it's just given to you, it's a bit hard for you to really sustain it. There's a proverb that goes that he who carries his own water learns to value it, you know. If water is just brought to you, you won't know what it takes to bring that water to you. So it's okay for you to get money from your dad to do a business. I'll give an example. Is it Jeff Bezos? I think Jeff Bezos was given a loan by his parents to start his first business. So it's not a bad thing if you're getting that money to invest in something that is going to grow. I think it's okay. The problem comes in whereby you are entitled, they give you money, you just squander it, you spend it, then you want some more money, and there's nothing you're doing with that money, you know. So that's where the problem comes in. Then there are also those people, because not everyone is lucky to have a parent who can give them money. There are those who have to start from scratch, you know. So you'd find that if you're starting from scratch and you start growing bit by bit, you learn how to value it. Then there are also those people who are responsible. And I think it also depends on how one was brought up, you know. You can have rich parents, but you are brought up in a very good way. Even if they gave you money, you will know how to value it and you know how to invest it, and it works for you. The best example I just gave, Jeff Bezos, was given a loan. In fact, it was a loan. His parents gave him a loan. He grew that money and he paid them back. You know, so if you're lucky, it works for your advantage. If you have rich parents, then for someone who doesn't have rich parents, you can start from where you are, and God will bring the right people who are going to help you have the monies that you need to grow your business. Yeah.
So because I feel like there are some people who feel like, okay, so I say, you know, but then they don't know exactly how that person got there. Because some people they work for it. But you want to make sure I'm pass sure because you're entitled to it. And then like even like you mentioned, when you're given something, it's not that let's say like the way I wanted 5,000. Let's say I was given that.
Yes.
So that if I was able to manage it, it doesn't mean I was lucky or something. Managing that money, 5p, I mean, managing it's a very big thing. It's a very big thing. But then there's certain people who all of us pass 5,000. Like for me, like the way I was feeling, there's no carry from car. If I was given that, now no.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
This is one thing I've learned. When it comes to money, money is in levels. It's like it's mindset actually. If there's a person who has a mindset of maybe let's say 20,000, if you give a person with a mindset of a 20,000, you give them 100,000 right now, it's very possible that you give them today 100,000, meet them after 1 week, that man would have reduced to 20,000. Why? Because that's what the mindset reaches. For me, there was a point, actually, I really struggled. The highest money, that 11,000 I talked about, that was the only money I used to make in Africa. 11, 10, 11, 10. I wasn't going beyond that point. I remember my mentor told me that, you tell me, the moment you go to 19, you'll be surprised how it will continue growing. I crossed that bridge. I had a 16, I had I saved up. I had a 19. From a 19, it jumped to 20, I think to 26. That's how I even ordered my first car, So I struggled to cross that bridge, So it's mindset. If someone has a mindset of a 500 kwacha, give them a 5,000 today. Like the same way you said it, you'd find that at that particular time, if you're given a 5,000, you'd find that if your mindset was maybe 1 pin, you spend all that money and reduce the 5,000 from a 5,000 to a 1,000, and it will end there, Then there are also those people, if you have a mindset of 100,000, someone today can give you a 20,000. They should come and meet you 3 or 4 months later, you would have grown that money to 100,000 plus. So it's a mindset. Wealth, money, everything, it's got to do with the mindset. Even when it comes to cars, for me, like I said, my favorite car, my dream car was a Lexus IS 250. When I bought it, I wanted to move from a Lexus to a different car. I called a friend to Pastor. I know him. I once brought in a car for him. I brought in a Mercedes Benz for him. So I was asking for advice. Which car do you think I should buy? A Benz or a Mac X? He told me, driving a Mercedes Benz is a mindset, So if you have a Toyota mindset, you can't drive a Mercedes Benz. And it was true. At the time, I had the mindset for Lexus and Toyota. It was hard until when my mindset changed, everything changed. I'll give an example. There are those people who can't use Android. The only phone they know in the world is an iPhone. That's the mindset they have, So it's the same with money. The moment, and also the way the mind is, it expands. And once it expands, it never goes back to the size it was. So for example, when you expand, you start making 200,000, 300,000, 500,000. It's very hard for you to go back, It's very hard for you to go back. But if you are used making a 5 pin, the moment they give you 500,000, you reduce it to 5,000. Yeah.
So now how do you like practical steps that you can take to increase your capacity, like in the mind?
So let me say
Yes.
let me say
It's just a button.
let me say the business, you are doing business. Today you make a 500 kwacha as your profit. Tomorrow it goes to 1,000. The other day it goes to 1,500. The day you make a 500 again, it will hit you. You'll be like, how have I reduced? I got to this level. So as a result, you'll be forced again to go back and make a 1,500. The only time you'll be satisfied is if you make a 2 pin or a 1,500 going up. So it takes time. Like you'd find that when you're here, you'll be content. Even when it comes to cars, you know, there was a point. The car that I would drive, maybe it's worth 80,000. Then I moved maybe to a car worth 100 pin. Moved to a car worth 150. Moved to a car, just you keep on going back like that. You're going upwards like that. You'd find that when you're driving, maybe let's say a car, which is worth maybe even 250. The moment you drive a car which is worth 80,000, it will be hard for you, you know. It will be very hard for you. Be like, you'll be forced, you keep on growing. That's how it is. You know, it's like, that's why it's the same thing they say, that the rich are getting more rich, than the poor are getting. That's how it works. You know, the more you start going up, you'll be motivated to continue going up. It's like a plane. The moment it's in motion, it takes off. It will want to continue going up. You know, the moment it starts coming down, it has to land. So it's basically the same. Yeah.
Wow.
I think boy can close it with Papa Trapper. I think I'm sure about closing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a Filtered Fam podcast.
Wow.
Conversation with you.
Woo.
One of the dream episodes we've had.
Wow.
Yeah, finally has happened today. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button, like, share, tell a friend about it. Let's grow together. I'm your host Elijah, my co-host
Abraham,
and our guest was
Sir Charles.
Thank you very much, guys.
Right.
wow. That was